Hey guys, welcome to GameJunkieXL, and we're going to be doing a new thing here actually. It's something I thought about. Now, being a gamer, I've played tons and 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 tons. That's a lot of tons. I played tons of games. Tons of games. That including sequels. And honestly, there are games out there that do not deserve the sequels that they get. I mean, let's face facts. There are games out there that are amazing that, they kind of get off on a bad foot on the second game, but then all of a sudden, bam, they're right back into it. Take Devil May Cry, for instance. Devil May Cry is a beautiful, beautiful series. However, Devil May Cry 2 wasn't that great. Other things, publishers have dropped the ball in favor of graphics. Square is notorious for this. Anything basically after 9, you can say 10 was really good, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. And 11 was a broad step in the MMO genre. However, 14 completely falls flat, even though they are fixing it. I mean, come on, that game had more problems than anything. Alright, and I wasn't into Final Fantasy 12, 13 at all. Or the 10-2. Everything with 2 all of a sudden. What's going on here? Seriously. There are games that start off kind of shabby graphically, maybe not so much story. Take Witcher, for example. Witcher 2 is an amazing, amazing game. Probably the best, I would have to say the best solo RPG that I have ever played in my entire life. Aside from one. And we're going to talk about that a little bit right here, right now. In this first episode, I almost stumbled there. The first episode of games that deserve sequels. Now, this game originally did have a sequel. However, it wasn't necessarily a sequel in the terms of purity, which the first game had. It was kind of a side story. Okay. And, well, I'm going to play a little music clip right now, and hardcore fans of this game are going to instantly recognize it. So let's get right to it. Yeah. Seriously. I mean, come on. Were you alive in 1995? Even if you weren't, okay? This game has been released across multiple platforms. This has been on, portables. This has been on PlayStation. Sony's had this game, even though the load times kind of stink. You can download it on the PSN store. It's an amazing, amazing game. And it is a testament to single-player RPGs. It is a beautiful game. Musically, story-wise, everything. So why does it deserve a true sequel? Well, let's get right down to basically what it is. If you've ever played Chrono Trigger, you honestly have very fond memories of it. I can honestly say I've never met a gamer who's played Chrono Trigger that absolutely did not like it or did not want to see a continuation of Chrono Trigger. Now, let's get down to brass tacks here. The game was made in 1995, but even today, it still stands up to what producers and developers are coming out with today. If you sit down and you really play Chrono Trigger, you'll understand what I mean if you've never played it before. It stands the test of time. It's one of those cult classics. It's one of those gems, those games that you always have in your collection. I have every goddamn version of Chrono Trigger. No lie. I have them all. Can I play them all? No. No, I still have my original Super Nintendo Entertainment System cartridge. I haven't had a Super Nintendo in God, over a decade. But I still have Chrono Trigger, and it's the only Super Nintendo game that I have, and the only one I will retain. Now, Chrono Trigger did spawn a text-based game which tied up loose ends. It was released only in Japan, called Radical Dreamers. I never played it. I'm not really much in for the text-based adventures or anything like that. It also spawned Chrono Cross, but Chrono Cross wasn't developed by the original team, the Dream Team, which comprised of I'm going to put all the Wikipedia information right down in a link in the bottom so you guys can check it out anyway. But yeah, let's get right down to what I think needs to happen here. Now, When I say this game deserves a sequel, do I think it deserves a sequel as a solo player RPG? No. No, I don't. I honestly don't, because I don't think it could stand up to what basically single-player RPGs have become in this day and age, because you see, BioWare is doing things that, is spawning other things. The Witcher series is just amazing. There are games out there that I don't think could stand up to. However, there is a genre that a new Chrono Trigger that is pure to the ilk of Chrono Trigger, the original, would be an MMO. And I've talked about this to my friends. I've talked about this to, people on YouTube. I've talked about this to people on Facebook, Twitter, everything. And it comes across like, wow, that is a really good fucking idea. So I said, why don't I just put it out there? And anybody who watches this video, give your opinions down in the comments. If you like the video, thumbs up it, do all that cool shit. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed, and make sure you share this with your friends so they can see too. Who knows, maybe someday we could see a new Chrono Trigger with the original cast. But I think what needs to happen is it needs to fall into a genre that fits it appropriately, and into a genre that really hasn't experienced anything like Chrono Trigger can bring to it. And I think that needs to be the MMO genre. Now, yes, we know, oh god, the gorilla in the room, World of Warcraft, and we have Guild Wars 2 coming out, which I'm very, very excited about. And we have, just loads and loads and loads of free-to-play MMOs out there and everything. But why is it that every MMO falls basically into the same ilk? You're either in fantasy, or you're in the future, or you're somewhere in the middle, like Secret World. Okay, now if you would put out a Chrono Trigger MMO, think of the possibilities there. You could have the past, way back to prehistoric times. You could have, the Dark Ages. You could have present time, future time, where Robo is from, and, go back all the way to Ayla. You could have, all the main players that survive from the main Chrono Trigger as NPCs in the game, basically. You could even meet up with Chrono. And basically, you just start off as a life in whatever time area that you would specifically prefer to start in. It would basically be servers which were dedicated to specific time frames, I guess you could call. So you would server hop, because the time travel would be very prominent in the game. You would have to go back into the past, and things that you did in the past would affect the future on your world and things like that. As far as anything that goes, I think that time traveling in MMO, where you drastically have changes in the world, and I mean it falls into a whole category where it's not like you go back and you change something for the better in the future, but you have opposing players which would go back and change something for the negative. So it's an endless loop, basically, which is kind of what Chrono Trigger is. It's an endless loop that basically just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling. Now, would there be a plethora of quests? Well, of course there would. Any MMO has to have a plethora of quests. And you have enough interesting enemies in the single-player Chrono Trigger to fill out a mob list, with the additions of some special mobs and things like that. But honestly, this is a genre that I think fits well with the Chrono Trigger original game. And I think that it is something that Square should take a look at and stop focusing so much on the world of Vana'diel. Seriously, 14 is basically 11 with a graphical upgrade and different names. Look at the races, they're exactly the same. Look at the world, I mean, it started off as copy-pasted shit, and they fired the whole staff that was responsible for Final Fantasy 14, and they hired a whole bunch of new people that gave a shit, and now they're starting to make it better. But you've already lost all those people. How many people are going to come crawling back to 14? And there is news that Squaresoft is already hard at work at developing a new MMO. Don't make the same mistake, Square. Put out fucking Chrono Trigger MMO. Seriously, do it. You guys, seriously, post on Squaresofts YouTube page or whatever they got. You know, send them letters or something. Say this is a good idea. Say you saw it here. Link them back to this video. Do whatever you have to do. This is a game that needs to be made. Let's make it happen. Until next time, guys. Peace.